What is the life cycle of a typical fungus such as the black bread mold, Rhizopus nigricans?
The life cycle of black bread mold, Rhizopus nigricans, is characteristic of the members of the phylum Zygomycota. This fungus has a period of sexual reproduction and a period of asexual reproduction that occurs more frequently. During sexual reproduction, there is a fusion of gametangia. The resulting zygosporangium forms a thick coat that awaits favorable conditions in order to conduct further development. When conditions are favorable, the zygosporangium germinates into a sporangium. During asexual reproduction, spores are produced in the sporangium and then dispersed.
What is the ecological role of lichens?
Lichens account for approximately 8% of the vegetation covering Earth's surface. In certain environments, such as regions of tundra, they cover vast areas of land. Lichens delay global warming by consuming significant amounts of carbon dioxide. CO2, during photosynthesis. When they cover the ground, they prevent soil from drying out. In desert areas they are able to capture and conserve the moisture present in fog and dew. Lichens release nutrients, such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which are important in regions with nutrient-poor soils as the nutrients aid tree growth. Lichens are also an important food source for many species of animals, including wild turkeys and reindeer of the Arctic tundra. Birds such as the olive-headed weaver of Madagascar and the goldfinch of Europe use lichens to build their nests.
What is the economic impact of fungi?
Fungi produce gallic acid, which is used in photographic developers, dyes, indelible ink, as well as in the production of artificial flavoring, perfumes, chlorine, alcohols, and several acids. Fungi are also used to make plastics, toothpaste, soap, and in the silvering of mirrors. In Japan, almost 500,000 metric tons of fungus fermented soybean curd, tofu and miso, are consumed annually. Different strains of the rust fungus Puccinia gramineus cause billions of dollars of damage annually to food and timber crops throughout the world.
How did the increased level of radioactive dust, cesium-137, in lichens affect the food chain following the Chernobyl nuclear power station disaster?
Lichens are a primary source of food for reindeer. Reindeer is commonly consumed by humans that live in regions of tundra. When the accumulated level of radioactive dust present in lichens became so high in the reindeer that fed off of them, the reindeer meat became unsuitable for human consumption. Hundreds of tons of reindeer carcasses were disposed of as toxic waste.
How many antimicrobial products are available?
More than 8,000 antimicrobial products are registered with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. The EPA regulates products that kill microbes on inanimate surfaces. The various products contain more than 300 different active ingredients and are available as sprays, liquids, concentrated powders, and gases. More than 50% of the 8,000 antimicrobial products are used to control infectious microorganisms in healthcare settings.
Do fungi only decompose dead and decaying organic matter?
Not only do fungi consume dead and decaying organic matter, but some attack living plants and animals as they serve as a source for necessary organic molecules. Fungi often cause diseases among plants and animals. They are some of the most harmful pests to living plants and are responsible for billions of dollars in agricultural losses each year. Food products that have been harvested and stored are not immune to fungal decay. Fungi often secrete substances into the foods they attack, making the foods unpalatable or even poisonous.
How do yeasts differ from other fungi?
Yeasts remain unicellular, that is, as single cells throughout their life. Most species reproduce by budding, others through binary fission or spore formation. Each bud that separates from its mother yeast cell can grow into a new yeast cell. Some yeast cells group together to form colonies.
What are some beneficial uses of the sclerotia of the fungus Claviceps purpurea?
The sclerotia of Claviceps purpurea are known as the plant disease ergot. Ergot is used pharmaceutically to produce drugs used to induce labor in pregnant women and to control bleeding after childbirth. Ergotamine, an ergot alkaloid, is used to treat migraine headaches.
How many kinds of mushrooms are edible?
Among the basidiomycetes, there are approximately 200 varieties of edible mushrooms and about 70 species of poisonous ones. Some edible mushrooms are cultivated commercially, more than 844 million pounds. 382,832 metric tons, are produced in the United States each year.
Which antibacterial products are the most effective for general use?
Non-residue producing agents, such as hydrogen peroxide and bleach, are effective agents for controlling microbes. Several consumer products with residue-producing agents have proved to be effective for specific conditions. For example, antibacterial toothpaste helps control periodontal disease. Antibacterial deodorants suppress odor-causing bacteria, and anti-dandruff shampoos help control dandruff.
Why is the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae important in genetic research?
Biologists have studied Saccharomyces cerevisiae, a yeast used by bakers and brewers, for many decades because it offers valuable clues to aid in the understanding of how more advanced organisms work. For example, humans and yeast share a number of similarities in their genetic makeup. The DNA present in certain regions of yeast contains stretches of DNA subunits that are nearly identical to those in human DNA. These similarities indicate that humans and yeast both have similar genes that play a critical role in cell function. In 1996, an international consortium of scientists from the United States, Canada, Europe, and Japan completed the genome sequence, all 12,057,500 subunits contained in the nuclear DNA of S. cerevisiae. It is the first eukaryotic organism to be completely sequenced. With their rapid generation time, yeasts continue to be the organism of choice. To provide significant insights into the functioning of eukaryotic systems,
What purpose do the gills of mushrooms serve?
gills, which can be present on the undersurface of a mushroom's cap, serve two main purposes. The first is to maximize the surface area on which spores are produced, allowing a very large number of spores to be produced. The second purpose is to help hold up the cap of the mushroom. Spores are produced in the basidia specialized cells that line the surface of the gills. It has been estimated that a mushroom with a cap that is 3 in 7.5 centimeters in diameter can produce as many as 40 million spores per hour.
What are the differences between non-residue producing antibacterials and residue producing antibacterials?
Non-residue producing antibacterials quickly destroy bacteria, rapidly disappear from the surface. They were applied due to evaporation or chemical breakdown, and leave no active residue behind. Examples of non-residue producing antibacterials are alcohols, aldehydes, gaseous substances such as formaldehyde, and halogen-releasing compounds such as chlorine and peroxides. In contrast, the disinfecting action of residue-producing antibacterials is prolonged. Because they leave long-acting residues on the surfaces to which they are applied. Examples of residue-producing antibacterials are unalides such as trichlocarbon, bisphenols such as triclosan, heavy metal compounds such as silver and mercury, and quaternary ammonium compounds such as benzalkonium chloride.
Do bacteriostats, sanitizers, disinfectants, and sterilizers control microorganisms the same way?
The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, classifies antimicrobial agents as 118 non-public health products and public health products. Non-public health products are products used to control the growth of algae, odor-causing bacteria, microorganisms infectious only to animals, and bacteria that cause spoilage, deterioration, or fouling of materials. Examples of non-public health products are jet fuel, paints, and treatments for both textile and paper products. Public health products control microorganisms infectious to humans in any inanimate environment. Bacteriostats, sanitizers, disinfectants, and sterilizers are all public health products. Sanitizers are used to reduce, not eliminate, microorganisms from inanimate environments to levels considered safe as determined by public health codes or regulations. Non-food contact sanitizers are used on dishes, utensils, and equipment found in dairies and food processing plants. Non-food contact sanitizers include carpet sanitizers, air sanitizers, laundry additives, and in-tank toilet sanitizers. Disinfectants are used on hard, inanimate surfaces and objects in order to destroy or irreversibly inactivate infectious bacteria, but not necessarily their spores. Disinfectants are classified according to whether they will be used in hospital or general environments. Hospital disinfectants are critical to infection control and are used on both medical and dental instruments. Floors, walls, bed linens, and toilet seats. Sterilizers, also called sporicides, destroy all forms of microbial life and their spores. Sterilization is crucial to infection control, and the process is widely used in hospitals as well as on medical instruments and equipment. Examples of sterilizers are autoclaves, dry heat ovens, low-temperature gas, and liquid chemical sterilants.
What is unusual about Amanita mushrooms?
Some of the most poisonous mushrooms belong to the genus Amanita. Toxic species of this genus have been known by the names death angel, Amanita phalloides, and destroying angel, Amanita virosa. Ingestion of a single cap of either of these species can kill a healthy, adult human. Even ingesting a tiny bit of amatoxin, the toxin present in species of this genus may result in liver ailments that will last the rest of a person's life.
What is the role of yeast in beer production?
Beer is made by fermenting water, malt, sugar, hops, yeast, species Saccharomyces spp, salt, and citric acid. Each ingredient has a specific role in the creation of beer. Malt is produced from a grain, usually barley, that has sprouted, been dried in a kiln, and ground into a powder. Malt gives beer its characteristic body and flavor. Hops is made from the fruit that grows on the herb Humulus lupulus, a member of the mulberry family. The fruit is picked when ripe and is then dried. This ingredient gives beer a slightly bitter flavor. Yeast is used for the fermentation process. Making beer is a complex process. One method begins by mixing and mashing malted barley with a cooked cereal grain such as corn. This mixture, called wort, is filtered before hops is added to it. The wort is then heated until it is completely soluble. The hops is removed, and after the mixture has cooled, yeast is added. The beer ferments for 8 to 11 days at temperatures that range between 50 degrees and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees and 21 degrees Celsius. The beer is then stored and kept at a state that is close to freezing. During the next few months, the liquid takes on its final character before carbon dioxide is added for effervescence. The beer is then refrigerated, filtered, and pasteurized in preparation for bottling or canning.
What is the dikaryotic phase of fungal life cycles?
The dikaryotic phase of the fungal life cycle is unique. During this unusual phase, which is common in many species of fungi, cells contain two distinct nuclei. These two nuclei divide simultaneously as the mycelium grows. Growth continues until fusion occurs during karyogamy.
When was a chemical disinfectant first used during a surgical procedure?
The use of a chemical disinfectant during a surgical procedure was first documented at the Glasgow Royal Infirmary in March 1865. Before surgery on a patient, Joseph Lister, 1827 to 1912. Sprayed the air with a fine mist of the phenol carbolic acid and soaked his surgical instruments in a carbolic acid solution. Although the patient later died, Lister continued his experiments. In an 1867 article in The Lancet, it was reported that Lister's postoperative surgery mortality rate dropped from 45% to 9% after he started to use chemical disinfectants in operative settings.
What roles do fungi play in recycling?
Fungi play a key role in the recycling of many elements. As the primary decomposers in the biosphere, they break down organic matter, including dead plants and other vegetation. As fungi actively decompose materials, carbon, nitrogen, and the mineral components present in organic compounds are released, these elements can all be recycled. During decomposition, carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere and minerals are returned to the soil. It is estimated that, on average, the top 8 in 20 centimeters of fertile soil contain nearly 5 metric tons of fungi and bacteria per 2.47 acres, 1 hectare. Without fungi acting as decomposers, dead organic matter would overpower the world and life on Earth would eventually become impossible.
Which is more common, endomycorrhiza or ectomycorrhiza?
Both endomycorrhiza and ectomycorrhiza have the ability to be mycorrhizal fungi. In endomycorrhiza, the hyphae of the fungus penetrate the outer cells of the plant root and extend into the surrounding soil. In ectomycorrhiza, the hyphae surround but do not penetrate the roots. Endomycorrhiza are much more common than ectomycorrhiza. The fungal component of endomycorrhiza is a zygomycete. While only about 30 species of zygomycetes are known to be involved in endomycorrhizal relationships. The zygomycetes are associated with more than 200,000 species of plants. Basidiomycetes are the most common fungal component of ectomycorrhiza. Although some ascomycetes also form ectomycorrhizal relationships. More species of fungi are involved in ectomycorrhiza, at least 5,000. But most are only associated with a single species of plant. Furthermore, the total number of plants involved in ectomycorrhiza is limited to a few thousand.
Which plants most commonly form ectomycorrhizal relationships?
The most common plants associated with ectomycorrhiza are trees and shrubs growing in temperate regions. These trees include pines, firs, oaks, beeches, and willows. These plants tend to be more resistant to extreme temperatures, drought, and other harsh environmental conditions. Some ectomycorrhizal fungi may provide protection from acidic precipitation.
Are there reliable rules to identify poisonous mushrooms?
There are no general, reliable rules to identify poisonous mushrooms. Some of the edible varieties are quite easily recognized. But some edible varieties closely resemble poisonous mushrooms and can only be distinguished by an expert. The common lore that poisonous mushrooms make silver spoons turn black, while mushrooms that can be peeled are edible, is not true. Some of the deadliest mushrooms, amanitas, do not turn silver spoons black and can be peeled. The only rule to follow is that one must be able to identify a mushroom with certainty prior to eating it.